good idea to make podcasts of every time we have you have a speaker. Oh, you're those meetings or whatever. So yeah, okay. So I expect this will be a little different from last week and probably different from next week. Come on in. Yeah, if you have to leave halfway through, don't worry. You can catch up because we're going to record it and make it into a podcast. All right, so the title of the talk today was a bit strange, and maybe you didn't notice it. Maybe you come here because you did notice it, and you thought, what on earth is this? It's the title is Just Like This is Buddha. Yeah? This is definitely, as John said, going back to Korea, going back to China, where Zen was developed 1400 years ago. A very strange and extraordinary type of Buddhism, which doesn't depend on sutras or teachings at all. In fact, explicitly says it's a special transmission outside the scriptures, pointing directly to mind. So the transmission is mind to mind, from teacher to student. The student becomes a teacher and passes it on down, and it's happened, for 1400 years, like that. But if it doesn't depend on words and it doesn't depend on scriptures, then what is it all about? Okay? Well, what it's all about is something that's before words, before thinking, before your mind. Yeah? So if you just let go of all your thinking, you just put it all down completely, your mind becomes very wide and open, then you've got a number of choices things that can occur. One of the things that people get hooked on is, my mind is completely empty. You get very attached to emptiness. Yeah? No thinking, no worries, no concerns, nothing to be bothered about, no fears, no hopes, not even any memories. Yeah? Emptiness. But if you get attached to this, you will get completely stuck. You're no use to anybody. Yeah? So another thing that happens, if you take one step beyond that, is suddenly you open your eyes, you open your ears, and you realize that emptiness isn't empty at all. There's a whole universe right in front of you. Yeah? Now, that is your first step in Zen practice, Zen Buddhism. Right. So our great Zen teacher, who founded our school, is a Korean Zen master, he said, open your eyes, open your ears. What do you see? What do you hear? And he said, the song of the birds and the sound of the waterfall are the great sutras. So it throws away all of the sutras. Just says, look at what's in front of you. Listen to what you hear. Yeah? He also said, the green tree and the high mountain, they are the Buddha's original face. If you want to find Buddha, if you want to find the truth, don't start reading a lot of philosophy. Your lecturers weren't like this, but okay. What you do is you open your eyes, you open your ears, you 100% believe what you see and what you hear. Okay? You don't start believing stuff that you've been taught by somebody else. You don't believe even things which are written down as the words of the Buddha, and the sutras, or anything else, because so much has been written, so many books, so many thoughts, so many ideas. Yeah, you can get loads of books on every kind of Buddhism, including Zen. Yeah, open your eyes, open your ears. What do you see? What do you hear? What is right in front of you is truth, just like this. Yeah? Now, why is this so powerful? It's so powerful Because anything that you receive from somebody else, there's always a little seed of doubt. Are they right? Does it really work? Is it really true? But when you discover this believing 100% in what you're experiencing right now, what you see right now, what you hear right now, then just like this is the truth. Yeah? And when you find this, you realize that is the one thing that there is no seed of doubt in it. What you experience is happening right now really is happening because you're experiencing it right now. You might not even be able to trust your memories. You certainly can't trust your expectations and your hopes and your predictions. But what you can trust is what is happening here right now. Okay? Now, that's a very different form of meditation and practice from what you will find in almost every other tradition. Okay? There are many other traditions, some of which, like, say, transcendental meditation, they try and wipe out your thinking, yeah, with a mantra. So, your head is full of a mantra, okay? But it's what's in your head. Other forms of meditation, like insight meditation, wonderful, really, really good for you. Relaxation, yeah, they will tell you to be very conscious of what's happening in your mind or what is happening in your body, your feelings, your thoughts, yeah, you get some insight. You can unlock your karma like this. It's very, very healthy. Actually, that's not Zen, though. We do that, of course, because you need that from time to time. But the heart of Zen is that when you sit in meditation, don't shut your eyes and go inside. Just sit with your eyes open and just be completely here. Yeah? So, actually the way to do meditation when you do it in this style is you sit somewhere very quiet where you won't be disturbed, yes, and you're completely aware of what you see. If some sound comes, right, then you just completely accept it. It's completely true, just like this, right? What happens is no inside, no outside. You're not thinking, oh, that sound's out there, but I'm hearing it in here. No, it's only the sound, okay? Same with what you see. You don't think, oh, that's out there, but I'm seeing it in here. No, it's only this, yeah? So it's just being completely present in the situation, in the moment where you are, right? Now, what's the power of this? The power of this is that when you do that, it's actually quite difficult to do it when you're doing meditation. You can meditate standing up, you can meditate sitting down, you can meditate lying down, sitting on a cushion, whatever. You can even meditate walking about, okay? But when you do it in this style, what you realize is that all of the things which normally fill your head are just not there. All the fears, the anger, the hopes, yeah, all of the plans, even the memories, they just drop away. You can just be completely present. It's a little easier to do it if you go in the country, which is why I live in the country. But here you are in the middle of Manchester, so you have to do it with buses and cars and, bicycles. And, yeah, so, okay, you have to try and do that. But it's very easy in the country. You just go out and suddenly, you just hear the song of the bird, or you just hear the sound of the waterfall, or you just hear distant traffic. That's all right. When it's nearby, okay, just use that. Okay? So that is your first step in Zen meditation. What we're going to do is just take a moment or two. I think only just a few minutes. All right? What we do is we try and sit quietly. We just try being completely present. Normally we sit for much longer, but if you know it's going to be a short time, then you can really concentrate your mind Just be 100% present. And for the moment, don't necessarily look at other people, but just look at the floor or a cushion or something. Yeah, you can use your shoes, okay? And all right, we'll just do that. I'll just clap once to start. Okay, now that actually is a very ancient form of meditation. And you might wonder if it goes back to, it's specifically Zen. It isn't actually. It certainly goes back to the Buddha. Very specific part of his teaching, which is right at the center of his experience, right at the beginning of his enlightenment, when he sat all night under the tree looking for enlightenment. You know, he was wrestling with demons and dealing with all sorts of stuff, and then in the morning great peace appeared and the morning star appeared in the sky. Now you know the morning star also appears as the evening star. We know it's the planet Venus. Very beautiful, and certainly at that time it looked just as beautiful, but nobody had any idea what it was. So sitting in meditation, the sky is just beginning to come from black to dark blue, and there in the sky is this very, very beautiful thing. And it said that he just sat meditating, looking at the morning star. And then he realized everything has Buddha nature. Everything has the nature of awakening. In other words, he was not meditating with his eyes shut, wrestling with his demons. He was meditating with his eyes open and looking up in the sky. And what he saw was a mysterious, totally unknown thing. Yeah. And just looking at that, he realized this has Buddha nature. Everything has Buddha nature. That is the nature of waking up. At this moment, this is supposedly the moment that he woke up, was looking at the morning star. So this kind of meditation is right at the heart of Buddhist practice. It's not something modern, it's not even something new, not something Korean or Chinese, it's definitely from the Buddha. Another time, he was going to give a sermon, and everybody is gathered. There was about 200 people present on the top of a mountain, and instead of starting to talk, he just sat in silence, and everybody became a little bit, what's he going to say, what's he going to say? And then he picked up a flower, and he just held it up in silence. I did this a couple of weeks ago at Manchester. Buddhist center. And, you know, again, just one person really understood, and that was the person to whom the Buddha gave his personal transmission. Just looking at a flower, absolutely just like this, 100% believing what you see. Yeah? Now, while we were sitting just now, we only sat for a couple of minutes, but in those few minutes, you have probably noticed some sounds, because while we could stop moving and everything can be very static and quiet in here, nothing moving to distract you, there will be sounds from outside. There weren't a lot, just a little bit of sound. And that happens everywhere, even at my centre, which is right out in the country. You sit and you hear far away a motorbike or a lawnmower or a bird singing or something, dog barking, something like that. You always have that little sound. What do you do with it? What you do is open up to it completely. No inside, no outside. Just accept the sound 100%. Let it come. Don't grasp it. Don't reject it. And it'll just go, and you just let it go. Okay? That's what you do with everything. Now, what's the next step in Zen? Well, the next step in Zen is very interesting, because I just told you the story. That's the origin of this this concept teaching of the Buddha nature. And people went on teaching this for many, 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 many centuries, and particularly it came out in the Parinibbana Sutra, which is one of the great sutras, talks about Buddha nature and how universal it is, how everything has Buddha nature, etc. So people were teaching this, and they were teaching it in 700, 800 Christian era, that is, in China. And there's a great Zen master called Zhaozhou, who was one of our greatest Zen masters. He lived to be very old, and I think when this story happened, he was very old. And he'd gone with his attendant, who was a young monk, to the village, and they were walking home. This is my version of it. And they passed a house with a dog chained up. Now, the attendant, of course, was one of the monks. He'd heard all the teaching, and as they passed the house with the dog chained up, the attendant said to Zhaozhou, "Does a dog have Buddha nature?" Because dogs were not very well treated, you know, in 8th century China. So Zhaozhou immediately answered. Of course, the guy had asked him in Chinese, not in English or Spanish or anything else. He asked him in Chinese, so he answered in Chinese, "Wu," which means no. So the guy was very, very surprised. He'd been teaching, he'd heard this teaching over and over again. Everything has Buddha nature. You have Buddha nature, I have Buddha nature, everything has Buddha nature. So he asks, "Does the dog have Buddha nature?" And he gets the answer, "Well, it's no." So this went back to the monastery, and of course he was telling everybody, "I don't understand. Why did Zhaozhou say no?" You know, and because they were speaking in Chinese, some of people got the joke. Yeah, they got the pun. All right, they understood it. And it became a very, very famous story. Always #1 Kongan in every collection. Okay? Why did Zen Master Zhaozhou say "Wu"? Okay? Well, I'm not going to solve it for you. You have to go away and think about that. Okay? If you think you've got the answer, you can come to my center. Check it out with the master. But the point is that this guy was not a very traditional sutra teacher. He was a Zen master. So when he's asked about Buddha nature, right, he doesn't answer normally in words and concepts. Of course not. What he does is he answers with action. So, for instance, let me just give you a very simple example. Do these shoes have Buddha nature? The correct Zen answer to that is you put on the shoes, you walk around the room. Okay? If I ask, does this cushion have Buddha nature? Okay? Anybody like to hazard a guess? The Buddha nature of the cushion? You just go down and sit on it. Okay? So we usually do that with this with your coffee cup. Your coffee cup, I do this at home with all my students, you know, we sit there drinking tea. Okay, so you got a cup of tea, coffee? Tea, okay. So does what's the Buddha nature of your tea mug? Yeah, okay. So you can get it. So if you understand that, you can pretty much understand Xiaoju's answer about the dog as well. Okay, so your first step is in. But this is an incredibly important step, because if you don't take this step, you can wander around in the world thinking, oh, how wonderful everything is, how wonderful the world is, you know, the stars, so perfectly stars, the sun rises in the morning, sets in the evening, yeah, everything has Buddha nature. You're just a tourist in the world of the Buddha, yeah, rubberneck, yeah, looking at everything and enjoying everything the way that it is. But this next step is everything that you do is the nature. Now that's right at the heart of Zen, because the first person to really teach this really clearly was the founder of Zen, who came from India to China. Yeah, his name was Bodhidharma. He was a great monk in this lineage that came down from the Buddha, from the Flower Sermon. Yeah, he was down in that lineage. He went to China and he brought Zen to China. Okay? And he said, for eternal ages, without beginning and without end, what you are doing right now is the nature. Now this is very, very remarkable. It is truly transformative when you really grasp this. What it means is that as you're sitting in meditation, you're not just thinking, oh, that sound, yeah, wonderful. What I'm looking at, okay, you can look up, see some flowers and other people, see an altar, and perhaps a golden Buddha. Oh yeah, it's all Buddha. No, it's not that. This, just sitting here, looking at the floor, doing very, very little, this is already the nature. This, just like this, is Buddha. Yeah? It doesn't mean you've attained everything, but you're beginning to realize, yeah, that this, what you're doing right now, is Buddha. And then if you can do that when you're sitting quietly, you get up and walk around the room, because you do walking meditation. How do you do walking meditation? If you don't do walking meditation formally in a practice group, then do it when you're walking along the street. Do it when you're walking to a lecture. Do it when you're walking anywhere. Just step, step, step. Just be 100% present in what you're doing. 100% just like this is it. Yeah? This is it. This is, again, completely transformative, because when you go like that, then you don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, nor do you worry about what happened yesterday. You know? You can just be 100% present. And then when a situation arises, it does change the way that you act. Instead of rushing in, oh, I know the answer to that. Oh, that's wrong. Yeah? Just be completely present. You see the situation. And when the time comes to act, you act correctly. Real bodhisattva action in the world. Yeah? Not rushing in because you know the answer. This mind that's completely open to the present moment, that's completely in the present moment, is a don't know mind. Yeah? You're not thinking, oh, I know what that is. That's a, yeah? It's like with these sounds that come. Oh, was that a car or a motorbike? No. Nothing like that. Just accept it completely the way that it is. You deal with every situation in that way. Just be completely present. Keep this meditation mind that's completely present in every situation, right? And then every action that you do is just the correct action, because you reflect the situation. Somebody shouts at you, gentle back. Somebody's gentle to you, gentle back. Do you understand? Yeah, you just reflect correctly each situation. So somebody comes to you and they're hungry. What do? Very simple. People came in tonight, they were thirsty. What did we do? Just made some tea. Some tea. Yeah? And when you're thirsty, what do? Yeah. Have a cup of tea. That's right. Just correct action. Okay? So, we make things very complicated in our lives. People are always making things complicated. Oh, I'm not quite sure whether I ought to do this or that. Okay? Just calm down. Just be completely present. And 99 times out of 100, you'll realise, oh, I've been completely silly. I know what the right thing to do is, quite obvious. Yeah? Just don't say anything in reply. Or just say one thing. Just do one very simple thing. Or just do nothing. Just wait. Yeah? We're much too keen rushing in, thinking that we know the answer, rather than just being present. Just listening. Yeah? Rather than doing anything special. Okay. So how does this come into our meditation? We'll do another 2 minutes meditation. All right? But now what you're doing is, don't go inside your mind. Just be completely present and just looking here right at the floor. Okay? If you want to try shutting your eyes, you can. But what you'll discover is that if you shut your eyes, you say 10,000 demons appear. Immediately your mind starts generating a lot of stuff. Yeah. So use your presence and the things that you're looking at, the things that come into your ears that you're hearing, and what you're feeling, and if you just to hook you into the present, and just do something very, very simple and very difficult. Just sit quietly, being here. Okay, could you hear some music upstairs? Okay, so I'll tell you one or two things just to close that particular section off. One of the things is that actually sitting quietly doing nothing is about the most difficult thing that we ever do. Yeah? It's really difficult just to do that and not to allow your mind to wander off on holidays, on adventures, on worries, on anxieties, on memories, on memory lane, you know, or plans, expectations, all that. Yeah, your mind does all sorts of stuff when you're sitting quietly, which is why I advise you to keep your ears open, don't try and reject anything or shut it out. Keep your eyes open, don't reject anything or turn inside. Don't concentrate on your thoughts, just let them come, let them go, return always to the present moment. Okay? Now, having said that, the most difficult thing that we can do in this style is sitting quietly. It means that if you can do that, even for a few minutes, each day I'd recommend finding 20 minutes when you can just sit quietly, doing meditation. What you'll find is that your mind quietens down, and then when you get up to do things, it's much easier to just be 100% in what you're doing, right? So if you've got some work to do, academic work, you can just sit down and your concentration is very much better, okay? And the reason is, because as your mind wanders off, you get distracted by something. Oh, I'd like to, you know, go into something else, whatever. Go out some friends, video game, whatever it is. And you have to come back. You can bring your mind back because you've practiced doing it when you're sitting on a cushion or on a chair, yeah? You bring your mind back. If you drive a car, I drive a car. Most of you probably don't drive cars. And I drive a car. I need to keep my mind on the road. I need to keep my eyes open, see what the signs say, red light stop, green light go. All right? If my mind is wandering off, I could have an accident. Yeah? If I'm thinking about yesterday, I could have an accident. If I'm thinking about tomorrow, I could have an accident. I need to be right here. So driving is very good meditation practice. But let's suppose that you don't drive. Well, I hope that you are doing some sports. Yeah? Now, our top sports people, men and women, everybody, they talk about getting in the zone. In the zone is, you don't think about winning. You only think about doing it 100%. That's what the zone is, okay, for sports people. Yeah? So you may not be very good at your sport, but get in the zone. Go in there, just do it 100%. Really enjoy the movement, really enjoy the competition, really enjoy what's happening with the ball, with the racket, with the bat, with whatever it is that you're doing, with the running, whatever it is. Just be 100%, really enjoy it. Then your sport, even if it's as simple as walking or running, or if it's much more complicated, it becomes a kind of meditation, right? At the end of the game, you won't be bothered the slightest bit whether you came first, last, or in the middle. You won't be worried about whether you won or lost because it was 100% worthwhile, right? And you've helped to train your mind being in the moment. Now go on and take that back into all your other activities. When you get in the car, driving, just drive. When you're studying, just studying. When you're out with your friends, dancing. Okay? I don't know if any of you go dancing. Sounds like some people are upstairs. But if you go dancing, that's excellent. Excellent form of meditation. So do that. And, you know, you can do exactly the same attitude, all right? But use the kind of music that helps you to be present rather than drifting off into a trance. I hope that's my advice anyway. So that's what that's all about. And just to, again, sum it up with a little story from Zen history. This is Fayan, or one of his successors. He was sitting, great Zen master, founded his own house. Somebody comes into him, and in this way, in those days, sometimes, you know, people would ask the Zen master the question, like the young guy asked old Zen master Zhaozhi, does a dog have Buddha nature? This person walked in, bowed to the Zen master. He said, what is the essential meaning of Zen? Or some question like that. But really, put this guy in place. I want to know. Yeah? The fire just looked at him, absolutely calm. He said, sitting on this cushion answering your question. totally in the present moment, then what else do you need? Okay. So now take you on to the next step in Zen. And this is that so far it all sounds a little bit too easy, because what's been disturbing us isn't so much actually the music or anything happening in the room, it's other people. I don't know if you noticed that. But, you know, when the music started, I bet half of you thought, oh, music, oh, that's disturbing it. But it's actually not the music. You could do what you say about the music, yeah? Just accept it, it'll come, it'll go, it changes, it's all right. You know, don't reject it, don't cling to it. You can do that, but what about the person that's been so thoughtless as to disturb us with their music? Or the person next to you, yeah, doing something. Or the person opposite you doing something, you know, disturbs you. And, well, this is a very small fish, isn't it, really, compared to what happens in our lives all the time. We try and do something, it's always somebody else that gets in the way, you know? You want to be happy, your partner is such a nuisance, your best friend not being so pleasant today, so on and so on and so on. Some person that you don't like, pass them in the corridor, just give them a, you know. Or, well, I know what lecturers are like. They're terrible, aren't they? It gave me a C instead of an A. And so on, yeah. It's always the other person, right? Well, what do you do about that? Well, it's still just like this is Buddha. Now I'm going to tell you another Zen story. This is a really great one. It really is fantastic, this story, so listen very carefully. We had another very great Zen master called Matsu. He was actually the teacher of the teacher of Zhaju. Yeah, there was a guy in between them. But, so he was earlier, and he was the real founder of this kind of form of Zen, where you just hit the mind after thinking, just be 100% present. Okay? He had many techniques that are used for people, and I won't tell you any of the stories. Maybe another time, or you can look them up. But at the end of his life, he was a huge, great man. Actually, he used to sit, you know, like a mountain. And when he was walking about, they said he strode like an ox, you know, very big, strong guy, man. And he got old, like everybody does, and he had an attendant, just as Zhaju did, and he went out walking in the paddy fields and the edges of the mountains and so on with his attendant, and they came to a place where a stream flowed out of the whole cave in the side of the mountain, and just there was this very, very pure white sand, washed clean, very smooth. And Matsu stood looking at it for a while, and then he said, next month I shall die. So he went home. The next day he was okay. The day after he was sick. And the day after that he was even more sick. The word went round to everybody. Matsu said he's going to die. And he's very sick. So of course everybody who'd been his student came to see him. He was very famous. He had many Dharma descendants, and he was very, very greatly revered and loved by everybody, pretty much. So his successors, his students, all came to see him. Some of them came in, and they were very sad. Oh, we're so sorry you're ill. Are you really going to die? Oh, we should miss you so much. Yeah. Others came in to see him, and it was surprising that they looked quite happy. They said, thank you so much for everything that you've done for us. We will never forget you. Yeah. And other people came in, concerned about whether he was feeling pain and ill, Some of them sad, some of them just at peace with it. Eventually, one guy came in who had a very different look on his face. And he had always resented and been very unhappy about Matsu didn't give him transmission of the Dharma. He'd given transmission to 60 other people, more than any other Zen master in history, but not to this guy. Now, this guy was like the official who ran the monastery, but he came in and he had a very sort of scornful and spiteful look on his face. And he said in Chinese, "How is your venerable health lately?" Well, he knew perfectly well. Everybody knew that Matsu was sick and was going to die. But this is a really horrible thing to say to somebody. Yeah. Matsu said one of the greatest things in all of Zen and Buddhist history. He looked straight at this guy and he said, "Sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha." So that's one of our mysterious questions. What exactly did he mean? You can think about that for a while. But to me, what it means is that this guy, whatever happens in his life, even when he's sick and in pain and he knows he's going to die within a month, still, just like this, is Buddha. Everything he sees is Buddha nature. Everything he does is nature. Even being sick and dying is nature. And everybody that comes to see him is Buddha, no matter what the look on their face happens to be. Yeah? And an enormously deep lesson in that. Yeah? The person who really dislikes you, who's horrible to you, yeah, that could be your greatest teacher. The difficult situation, yes.
What would you say to people who are hateful towards people not on a personal level? Because that can go for a personal thing, but like maybe being catcalled in the street or something racist maybe. That's not like a personal hatred, that's...
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
How are they?
Well, yeah. You have to decide. But, yeah, I mean, people are dealing with this all the time. Yeah. And particularly if you're subject of any kind of, sexist hatred or harassment or racist hatred or any kind of stuff like this, yeah. And the answer is definitely not to sort of be hateful back. Don't be angry, just be resolute, I would have thought. Yeah. So behind this, I mean, if somebody acts in a way that is just, the point, the lesson that I think we get from Matsu is that you are much bigger than that. Yeah, you're much stronger than that. This is just a distortion of this person's Buddha nature, isn't it? They've turned their Buddha nature into something stupid and useless and hateful and negative. Yeah, and if it's on a very trivial level, then it's very obvious. But of course, people in the world are doing much, much worse than that. They're doing really, really terrible things. Absolutely resolute against that. And the point is that there are many, many people on your side Yeah. People who are acting in that way are, as I said in the story, nearly everybody that came to see Matsu was, very loving, very respectful, missing him, and very grateful, and so on. Just one guy. Yeah. And remember that that's, somebody who has a big problem. Yeah. So usually, you don't need to say anything. Actually, it looks as though Matsu didn't actually say anything exactly to this guy, did he? He was saying what he said to thousands and thousands and thousands of people who would understand. Yeah? But I mean, if you need to say something, then don't be hurt, don't be angry, just be very strong, because you can show what the Buddha nature really is like in this attitude. That's what Matsu was doing. He was actually saying to this guy, well, this is my own opinion about this, because there's great depths in what he said. But what he's saying to this guy is, you don't have to be like that. I recognize that you are already Buddha, potentially. Yeah, you don't have to be like that. Yeah. Now that's very difficult to do, especially if you're on your own. But in the end, I think that's what our attitude is. You don't say, oh, this person's just evil. Yeah, rejecting. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, if it's just some verbal abuse on the street or something, then, much bigger than that. So you can just walk on, and you show the person that what they're doing is just pointless. It's usually very childish, very cruel, spiteful, and ridiculous. And that there's something much better. There's a much better way of relating to other people than what they're doing. Yeah, and you can do that in all sorts of ways. You can do it by saying something in a particular way, or you can do it by saying nothing. Very easily. Yeah. And if it's something which actually needs to be dealt with, because it's more than just a little offensive, it is genuinely offensive, it might well be illegal, or it might well be outside the bounds of what's acceptable in the university context, where we actually have better rules, don't we, of how people should behave to one another in a work context, in a university context. Then you can get other people involved. But do that in order to help the person who's made the offence, not exactly to defend yourself. You don't need to be defended against stuff like this ourselves personally. Do you see what I mean? I don't get at you. That person's being completely stupid. Yeah. So, does this person need some correction? Do they need to be pointed out that this is, not acceptable, and that it's childish, stupid, sexist, or racist, or whatever it is? Then get somebody else involved. If you don't feel you can just do it on your own, get other people involved, and yeah. So our society is moving. If you want my opinion about this, is that society moves through various phases, and the world is in a very unstable and difficult situation at the moment, and that's because a lot of the changes, many of them way overdue, right, are now coming up into the fore. They're becoming very much more apparent, and we're trying to deal with them. And there's quite a strong reaction in the world against this. Yeah. So, for instance, we've had hundreds of years of dealing with racism. Okay, nominally we got rid of slavery, and yet there are, they say, as many slaves in the world as there have ever been, because there are more people, and there are some countries where this kind of thing is still going on. Yeah, and we've had thousands of years of, gender-based violence and oppression, and now, it's coming to the fore. It's been coming up for at least 100 years, and we're almost now at the absolute crux of it, aren't we? People have got to make a choice. You make a choice personally, and we make a choice as a society. Yeah? And there are forces in the world that are trying to take us back, you know, into barbarism, medieval stuff, you know, murdering your political opponents, for instance, last week. Yeah? Yeah? And we have to be the people who say, no, we're moving out of, you know, thousands of years of darkness into something much better. Yeah? So, has this got anything to do with Buddhism? Well, it has, but the point is, it's not just Buddhism, is it? It's virtually anybody who's got any kind of moral standards, civic standards of good neighbourly and, you know, proper relationships between people, good partnerships and marriages and families and so on, and good nationhood, you know, neighbourhoods, cities and so on, you know. So many issues are coming up. The homeless, right here in Manchester, and even more in Birmingham, and so on and so on. These issues are all coming up, and we should definitely be on the side of compassion and respect for other people, and finding in each situation the correct relationship. So I'll just finish off with that. Glad you asked the question, because what this is about, what I'm trying to say is that in each situation with every person you meet, there is a correct relationship. Yeah. The other person may not see it. They may be relating to you completely incorrectly. Yeah? Very badly. And the question is, what is the correct relationship of you to that person? Yeah? You understand? So if you're on the receiving end, you know, you can be on the receiving end because you are, you know, you're black or brown, or you're female, or you're gay, or whatever. All right, you're on the receiving end of some abuse. What is the correct way of dealing with that? It's to believe 100% in your Buddha nature, exactly the way you are. Yeah? That's the first step. This, what you're experiencing right now, is already the Buddha nature. This that you're doing right now, just like this, is Buddha. You can believe 100% in yourself. And anybody that comes and tells you the opposite, oh, you're inferior, this is absolute rubbish. Okay? You can be completely confident of that. And what we're then trying to do is just trying to communicate to the other person that they can be much better than that. Yeah? I'm not in any of these minorities. I'm an old white male. Yeah? So I'm the guy who, you know, right? But the point is that there are old white males like me all over the place who are 100% on your side. Yes? I mean, in my case, because I'm a Buddhist. So I believe 100% in you, right? And I believe 100% in you, 100% in you, 100% in you, all right? It doesn't matter, okay? Young white males, get it, okay? You've got to believe in the other person 100%. Never put yourself above, yeah? So you approach every single other person with the respect and gratitude and love and compassion that you would. This other person is a Buddha waking up. What are you going to do? Help them. Okay? Doesn't matter who you are. Help them. Yeah. So that's the attitude that you have. And you can be, the more you do that, the more confident you become that it's possible to act out this. You know, it's possible to keep the correct relationship, correct situation, correct function in everything you do. Okay? Should we? Oh, well, I don't know about doing a bit more meditation because we've got the music upstairs. But if you've got a message, you can go and stay quiet. Any other questions? We could do dancing meditation. That would be good. Yeah.
There's a Zen book that turned out the other day, but a brief understanding that was if you meet the Buddha on the road, maybe you can give some commentary on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Zen can sometimes be extremely provocative, and that particular saying, which isn't actually a story, is designed to shock all the other Buddhists who revere the Buddha. I mean, I bow to the Buddha every time I walk into my Dharma room. We've got a Buddha statue there, and I bow to the Buddha. And we do that with the students as to why we bow to the Buddha, whether this statue has got Buddha nature and all sorts of stuff like that. So but the point of this story is something else. Yeah, is that I mean, it's not just saying if you meet a fascist or a racist or an extreme left, an extreme right, a Trump voter or you kill them. No, it's the person that you say, oh, that's Buddha, but I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. You need to get over that. It doesn't literally mean that you kill somebody, of course, but what you do is you don't attach to some idea that it's there, it's in somebody else, or it's back in history. Yeah, it isn't. It's right here, right now. Yeah. I once asked a Zen master who's actually coming. He's in Korea, but he's coming to Europe in the spring, and I went and asked him about, well, I won't say what the exact question was, but I was basically asking which bodhisattva is enough. A bodhisattva is a sort of enlightenment being who brings other people to enlightenment. And I expected a particular answer, and I didn't get it. I asked him what bodhisattva is enough, and he just looked me right in the eyes. And he said, this bodhisattva that's just walked into the room is enough. Pointing at me. That was a big shock. Yeah. So if he'd met somebody who came in and said, oh, I'm already Buddha, he sure would have killed him, metaphorically, not literally, but he would have killed him. Yeah. But he walked into somebody who's kind of looking for compassion, for bodhisattva, compassion in the world. He said, where is the bodhisattva who would satisfy what I need, And he looked at me and he said, this one, pointing at me. He said, this one is enough. Now, this is quite a few years ago, but you understand that? Yeah. So I just met the Buddha, but I'm not going to kill you, okay? I'm encouraging you. Wake up. Yeah, definitely. If you find intrusive thoughts which keep repeating themselves and coming back, okay, it can be. I mean, in the worst possible cases of this are post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, you probably haven't got that, but you may well have some kind of thing which is a little bit of a trauma or a little bit of a stress or something, and you keep going back to it. Or you might be, you can have a little anxiety problem, or it may be just temporary, but it's a little anxiety problem or a little paranoia problem that you think that some people it is, or something that's just on your mind. So how do you get out of that? Well, various things. If it's something, it keeps coming to your mind because it's something that you want to do. Yeah. Oh, I ought to finish this essay. Oh, I ought to finish this coursework. Well, get up and go and do the essay and go and do the coursework. Don't sit there. Oh, I'm trying to get. It's not about escaping from life. Yeah. Use your meditation in what you should be doing. Yeah. I should be replying to this email, whatever. Going out with a friend. I shouldn't be here. I should be there. Just assess it. Is that true? Should you be there with this friend who needs your help or something? Yeah? Because if you should, get up off your cushion, do your meditation with the other person, yeah? Now, and if it's something else, it's completely unrealistic, it's completely stupid. You're thinking, this person, they were nasty to me. They were nasty to me. What can I do about it? Keeps coming back and back and back and back. Yeah, that kind of thought. Nothing you can do about it. Okay? Then what you do is you actually use stronger forms of meditation. Right? I can tell you what they are. You can use this sport that I mentioned, or you can make it more meditative. You can do walking meditation. You go out and walk, yeah? Or if that's not strong enough, there are some people I know, and I do this myself sometimes. What you do is you do formal bows. I don't know if you know what Buddhist bowing is like. Do you know what bowing is like? Yeah? Okay. But I mean, if you don't think the traditional kind of bowing, but don't just bow once, bow 108 times. Yeah? I tell you that'll fix it. By the time you finish, you're gone. Okay? And if that doesn't suit you, well, there are all sorts of exercises. I use high intensity interval training. Very good for a person my age. It's very good for a person your age as well. Okay? You got this stuff in your mind. What happens if you wake up in the middle of the night? You wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes, yeah. Well, it may get more common as you get older. Okay, so what do? Well, get up, read something. Some people do these exercises in the night. Go back to sleep. Yeah, just wipe it. There are other techniques. I mean, I've got nothing against this mantra. I mentioned it with transcendental meditation. People try and blank all their thinking altogether. Okay? Not a good idea. But if you've got an intrusive thought, you can use a mantra. Okay? I won't say which one. I don't know which one. For you, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Just use a mantra. Or people get up and they actually do some chanting if they know Buddhist chanting, or they know, I don't know, you could use anything. You could chant anything, you could sing anything. You get up and just sing this, and fill your mind with, we sing Kwan, the name of the Bodhisattva of compassion. You can use any name of Buddha or Bodhisattva. You can use this and just run around. That's a very easy mantra. Because I use that one because it's compassionate. Yeah. So if I have anxiety, taught other people this. If they have anxiety or they have some feeling of persecution or something, you just use the name of the Bodhisattva of compassion. It just creates this feeling of, yeah. Particularly if you sit in meditation, and instead of what I said, there's no threat, there's no plans, there's no worries, no fear, no anger, because there's nothing there in the world that's creating. But if you find it's creating it in your mind while you're sitting quietly, well, don't sit quietly. Okay? Use a mantra, use chanting, use a song that you know, recite a poem, read to yourself aloud. I'm not sure about turning television on, but I suppose it might work. Yeah. Go out with friends, or yeah. If you're sitting working, and your thoughts keep coming in, intrusive thoughts, what do you do then? Just take a moment, take a break, get a cup of coffee, do one of these things, and then get back to the work and try and keep bringing your mind back to what you're doing right now, all the time. Back to what you're doing right now. All our demons and our difficulties are made by the mind alone. Okay? Okay? But Zen is no mind. Mind is like a mirror. An absolutely, completely clear mirror. Clear like a mirror, clear like space. Everything is reflected just like this. Yeah? And you need to train your mind, because otherwise you go back into that situation that's caused you to have these intrusive thoughts. Yeah? You meet this person, or somebody who is like your father, or your mother, or your old enemy, or whatever, and you suddenly find that it's triggering all the same reactions. Yeah? But if you can get this mind that's trained to be clear like a mirror, clear like space, then when you meet a new person, just exactly the way that they are. Yeah? Not some conditioned response. Yeah? Some intrusive thought. Yeah? So there's no instant fix. You have to train yourself over a lifetime just to be clear, just to be content. This is enough. I've got a job to do. Just do it. Just relate really well, correctly to everybody. Yeah. It's not an instant fix.
I cannot get to the level that there is no any situations in mind actually we highlight or into that there's no situations in mind, but how long should I how long actually do I need to train for it? I can just
Yeah, what you need to do, because what I'm talking about is like a door that starts, for many of us, shut. And then the door opens a little bit, and you begin to see what it could be like. And your training is like opening this door more and more and more and more and more and more, and then walking through the door into a different way of being. You see what I mean? Yeah? Now, that sounds as if it's a sort of graded process. Yeah, some people teach it that way. It isn't really. The point is that it's just more and more often returning to this clear mind. But you need to just get that door open a little bit. Yeah? And probably the best way, if you find you're really, really, really in your head, you can't stop thinking about things, you can't stop analysing. All the time you've got this feeling of something, anxiety or paranoia or whatever it is, anger, whatever it is, yeah, you just can't escape from it. Then definitely go in for the strong physical activity, right? The sport, it doesn't matter, sport, bowing, exercise of some sort, yeah? Or if that's too much, then at least, get out into the city, out into the country, and just completely lose yourself in what you're experiencing, yeah? That's your first crack in the door. The moment when you just say, for a moment, I'm free. Yeah? And then the key thing is, don't say, oh, that was nice, but, it's not practical. I have to go back to my old way. Yeah? Don't do that. We say, this is the answer. It is possible to be just completely clear for one moment. Other teachers said, one moment clear, your whole life clear. Right? But for too many people, one moment clear and, it's too difficult. Yeah? Don't do that. One moment clear, that's a crack in the door. Now you say, it's possible. You just get a glimpse of this Buddha world. The Buddha world is perfectly complete. All the bad things that happen are part of everything that's unfolding. And this everything unfolding is already complete. Yeah? So, push this door until you can walk through it. Okay? So,
many thanks. That's really beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really beautiful and brave teachings. Be at the present fully. So thank you. So next week I think we will still have another session.